Class we had studied about the jaundice. That was a clinical entity which you people come across frequently in the hospital wards. That was a symptom which the patient will tell you, or you will find on general examination that the patient's eyes are colored yellow and the skin coloration is also there. So the jaundice develops in the patients due to so many reasons. Among them, one of the leading cause is the viral hepatitis. The infection of the liver which are caused by the hepatotrophic viruses are called viral hepatitis. Among the viruses which affect the liver are five main types. The hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, hepatitis D, and hepatitis E, among which the one is poorly understood, that is hepatitis G, which is very rarely found and still it is not understood clearly. So we will talk about the virus as a virus causing hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, hepatitis D, and hepatitis E. So all these viruses have the affinity for the liver and causes infection in the liver. So this viral hepatitis is one of the cause of jaundice, developing jaundice in the patient. First of all, we will study about the viruses itself. So far the hepatitis A is concerned, it is a RNA virus of the size 27 nanometer and it causes infective hepatitis, very common conditions which causes jaundice, that is infective hepatitis, which affects the children mostly in 5 to 14 years of age, and it is either in the epidemic or endemic form. It is very mild, it causes mild infection because it is self-limiting, and its prognosis is also very good. It doesn't produce a chronic stage or any malignancy in liver. So it develops, the body develops against this virus the IgG and IgM type of antibodies, among which IgG gives lifelong immunity to the persons who develop once infective hepatitis. So its route of transmission is fecal-oral transmission, and these viruses are present in liver cell, bile, stools, and blood during incubation period. It is a self-limiting disease. The next virus which has got the affinity for the liver and which is more dangerous, which has a very severe prognosis, is the hepatitis B virus. Hepatitis B virus is transmitted through the parenteral transfusion, IV drug abuses, renal dialysis, and it is more frequently found in hospital workers, and there is a vertical transmission from mother to baby while taking birth or in the babies. So it has got a vertical transmission. Its incubation period is 30 to 180 days, very long incubation period. You know that the incubation period is the time interval between the exposure of the infection and the starting of the symptoms. So that is the incubation period. The importance of this incubation period is that patient becomes infectious to others while he doesn't know that he has got some sort of infection. So this hepatitis B causes serum hepatitis, and so far the structure is concerned, it is the only virus which has got DNA genome. DNA under the electron microscope, when it has been studied, It is found in two types, small particles and large particles. Small particles, small spherical and tubular in structure, that is 22 nanometer diameter, while the spherical size this DNA virus is the large particles measuring about 42 nanometer. It is double cell and it is called DAN or core particle. The intact virion of this hepatitis B virus consists of overlapping genes which produces multiple proteins. Among these multiple proteins which are found in this core particle is in the center there is a DNA polymerase which is enveloped by a thin layer of DNA. Outer to this there are two nucleocapsid protein, that is HBe antigen, that is the protein coat of HBe antigen, and the another protein coat HBC antigen is also there. So there are two types of antigen in this nucleocapsid protein structure, and then there is a surface protein is also found which is called hepatitis B surface antigen. Actually, it is not a part of the core particle or genome of this hepatitis B virus. Rather, this hepatitis B surface antigen which coats over this core particle is the production from the cytoplasm of the liver cells in response to this virus, and it is always produced in excess and it applies over the core particle. So whenever it is produced in excess, it is found in serum also as hepatitis B surface antigen, which is a diagnostic marker for the hepatitis B. So far its incubation period I have told you it is 30 to 180 days, and this virus causes a wide clinico-spectrum disease, wide clinico-pathological spectrum, because right from asymptomatic healthy one to carrier to chronic hepatitis, and even it leads to cirrhosis after so many hours and malignancy in liver after so many years rather. So its prognosis is very bad, even with the extremes of the age. When it occurs, the prognosis is very bad. So many genes, so many proteins are there in the core particles. Accordingly, the body also prepares antibodies that I will tell you later on in the hepatitis B profile. So it is one of the serious conditions when the person is infected with hepatitis B virus in comparison to the hepatitis A virus. Next is the hepatitis C virus. It is again by blood and blood product transfusion. It is transmitted also by the hemodialysis, parenteral drug abuse, accident cuts and needle prick. So it is again a RNA virus of 30 to 60 nanometer in size. This virus is directly hepatotoxic. It becomes hepatotoxic by cell-mediated response. Antiviral cytokines are produced by the T lymphocytes, and there is whenever this hepatitis C virus infects the lymphoid follicles, there is a specific CD4 T killer cells which produces cytokines and causes hepatocytic injury. So its incubation period is rather less, 20 to 40 days, and severity wise it is less severe than this hepatitis B virus, but when it is combined with hepatitis B virus, then it becomes very serious. So it also runs along a wide clinical spectrum disease from chronic hepatitis to, if it stands for more than 10 years, then it passes into cirrhosis and hepatocellular carcinoma. So the prognosis is also bad, but it is less severe than hepatitis B. Next hepatotrophic virus is the hepatitis delta virus. Hepatitis delta virus. That it is a defective virus because it lacks complete genome, so that they cannot replicate or form a protein coat over themselves to resist the adverse conditions. So they need a host dependent virus, which is called helper virus. Only then they can replicate, and that host virus provides them the particular genetic fraction which these viruses, that is hepatitis delta virus, lack. They are present in the hepatocytic nuclei of the hepatitis B surface antigen positive patients. So it can be with co-infected with the hepatitis B virus, then it is produces a mild degree of infection, but when it super infects on a chronic hepatitis B surface antigen patient, then it causes a very severe fulminant infection of the liver. That I will tell you later on. And now this super infected, this hepatitis D delta virus on the chronic hepatitis B surface antigen progresses to carrier stage, cirrhosis and hepatocellular carcinoma. Severity wise, it is also very severe when it is there with hepatitis B virus by direct cytotoxic effect on hepatocytes. It is transmitted again by the IV drug abuse in homosexual persons and transfused recipients and healthy workers. This hepatitis delta virus is found. Next is the hepatitis E. This hepatitis E is very much similar to the hepatitis A in the sense that it is also a waterborne disease and self-limiting disease. It never passes into chronicity and it is never harmful. It has a good prognosis. Then there is another virus, hepatitis D, about which a poor study has been so far, and this is found in the blood donor patient on hemodialysis. It is found co-infected with human immunodeficiency virus, HI virus, which produces AIDS syndrome. So after having the knowledge about the individual viruses which causes hepatitis, viral hepatitis, we will now study the clinico-pathogenic spectrum. That spectrum varies from asymptomatic infection, that the patient has already been infected by these viruses, but they don't know about that because they are the healthy persons. They are accidentally detected only when the serum transaminases like SGOT and SGOPT is raised and there are antibodies in them, but otherwise they look normal, no symptom, nothing else is them. Therefore we call it asymptomatic infection. So the persons can have asymptomatic infection. Next is the carrier state. So in this clinico-pathogenic spectrum, hepatitis B virus and hepatitis C virus have similar picture. Whereas hepatitis A virus and hepatitis E virus, there are no carrier stage, no chronic hepatitis stage. They are self-limiting and dissolves very soon. So right from asymptomatic infection, there can be a carrier state. The person is asymptomatic, but he is not manifesting any disease, but still he is harboring the virus and he is capable of transmitting this virus to other persons. So there may be two types of carrier state: asymptomatic healthy carriers, no ill effects of the virus infection, but they are capable to transmit it to others. Whereas another type is asymptomatic carrier with chronic diseases, but they are also capable to transmit it. These carriers with chronic diseases show changes of chronic hepatitis in their liver. So this morphological picture in healthy hepatitis B carriers which has no symptoms, they have finely granular ground glass homogeneous eosinophilic staining in the cytoplasm, that is of hepatitis B surface antigen, and the patient is labeled as asymptomatic carriers because they are not manifesting disease, but they have got the surface antigen in their serums, so they can transmit this disease to other persons. But there are another persons who are the carriers with chronic disease. They show changes of chronic hepatitis. Next is the third clinicopathogenic spectrum is the acute hepatitis, which all the viruses including hepatitis A virus, E virus, hepatitis B virus, C virus, all of them can produce. The most common consequence of this hepatitis is the acute hepatitis. It is an acute inflammatory involvement of the entire liver. It passes through the 4 phases. First is the incubation period. Patient remains asymptomatic, but it is infective to others. This incubation period varies from viruses to viruses, as I have already told you. Then there is a pre-icteric phase. This pre-icteric phase, in the patient will come to you with the complaints of prodromal symptoms like loss of appetite, vomiting, nausea, excessive fatigueness, dislike to the cigarettes, and they will complain of low grade fever. In this phase, if you go for laboratory investigations, only transaminases like SGOT and SGPT will be increased. Next phase is the icteric phase. This is the phase of clinical jaundice, that the patient's eye will look yellow, the urine will also become colored because of bilirubins, stool will be clay colored because of cholestasis, pruritus, that the patient will complain of itching of their body because of the presence of bile acids, and there you will notice the abdominal distances, and when you palpate the abdomen you will find the liver is enlarged. So these are the clinical findings, and laboratory test if you go for, then the liver function test will be altered. After this icteric phase, there is a post-icteric phase in which the clinical and biochemical recovery takes place with 2 to 12 weeks. That occurs with the hepatitis A virus and hepatitis E virus induced hepatitis. So in them the clinical and biochemical recovery takes place, but this post-icteric phase, if it is this hepatitis is due to hepatitis B and hepatitis C, then this post-icteric phase is prolonged, and 1% of these infected hepatitis goes to fulminant hepatitis, and 5 to 10% goes for chronic hepatitis. So in this post-icteric phase, the course of the disease varies according to which type of virus is infected. If it is hepatitis B virus, hepatitis C virus, then there is most chances to pass on to chronic hepatitis and fulminant hepatitis in 1% cases. So on gross examination, liver is enlarged, soft and greenish in color. Histologically, if you examine the slides, then there will be hepatocellular injury, which varies according to the cell injury, which is most marked in zone 3, that is centrilobular zone. In mild form, there is a swelling and of the granular cytoplasm, what we call ballooning degeneration starts place. and gradually these swollen and granular cytoplasm condenses around the nucleus, and this cytoplasm becomes intense eosinophilic, and the nucleus becomes a small pycnotic and is excreted out from the cell. This necrotic acidophilic mass is called Councilman body. This is the apoptic body because this necrotic acidophilic mass is necrosed without any inflammation. So this is the fate of the liver cells in hepatocellular injury. So this is called dropout necrosis. Clusters of hepatocytes undergoes lysis. There may be Kupffer cell hyperplasia, cholestasis, and then the remaining hepatocytes, liver cells regenerate. They undergoes regeneration, the surviving hepatocytes undergoes regeneration and in larger number. So we call it hyperplasia of the hepatocytes takes place. And when there is a dropout necrosis, then the necrosed hepatocytes are they heal by fibrosis. Now when the fibrosis takes place, the lobular architecture of the liver is slowly changes. So this is called the mild form of this hepatitis changes. But if it is severe, then there is a bridging necrosis instead of the dropout necrosis. Bridging necrosis, that is the occurs in severe form of acute viral hepatitis passing into fulminant hepatitis or in chronic hepatitis. There the bands of necrosis from the central vein to portal vein, central vein to central vein occurs. So when there is a bands of necrosis, I was talking about the bridging necrosis which occurs in a severe form of acute hepatitis culminating into fulminant hepatitis or in chronic hepatitis. Next, there is a inflammatory infiltration of mononuclear cells are seen in the portal tract. So now chronic hepatitis. Chronic hepatitis is a continuing or relapsing hepatic disease for more than 6 months with symptoms, biochemical changes, serological changes and histopathological evidence of inflammation and necrosis. It is as a result of hepatitis B and hepatitis C and combined hepatitis B and hepatitis D in infection to the liver. No hepatitis A or E takes part in chronic hepatitis. So besides this hepatotropic virus, that is hepatitis B, C, D, there are non-viral causes which also causes chronic hepatitis, and these non-viral causes are Wilson's disease, chronic alcoholics and drug-induced injury, autoimmune disorders. These autoimmune disorders is characterized by positive serum autoantibodies like anti-nuclear antibodies, anti-mitochondrial antibodies, but there are no serological markers. So viral hepatitis which develop in chronic hepatitis, the two factors determine it. That is the impaired immunity of the body and extremes of age at which the infection has occurred. Hepatitis C virus causes 40 to 60% adults they develop chronic hepatitis of chronic progressive hepatitis. Now hepatitis B virus, 90% of infected infants and 5% of adult cases passes into chronic hepatitis. Hepatitis delta virus with hepatitis B virus 10 to 40%. Whereas hepatitis A virus and hepatitis E virus do not produce chronic hepatitis. So on the basis of the morphology and histology, this chronic hepatitis has got three types: chronic persistent hepatitis, that means portal inflammatory infiltration is there and preserved lobular architecture, absent fibrosis, and there is a piecemeal necrosis in chronic persistent hepatitis. But there is a chronic active hepatitis, that is progressive hepatitis, in which there are chronic inflammatory cells into portal vein and hepatocytes. There is piecemeal necrosis and formation of intralobular septum. Besides that, there is a chronic lobular hepatitis, that is a mild form of inflammation in lobules and not in portal tract. So we will study the morphological changes if the chronic hepatitis is due to chronic hepatitis B virus and hepatitis C virus, in which there is a piecemeal necrosis, that is the periportal destruction of the hepatocytes. That means the hepatocytes which are surrounding the portal tract, they got destructed at the limiting plate. Therefore, these portal tracts are expanded by the infiltration of lymphocytes, plasma cells and macrophages. There the proliferative bile ductules are there, and if it is due to hepatitis C virus, then you will see the aggregation of lymphoid follicles with reactive germinal centers, and intralobular lesion architecture is maintained. There are focal areas of necrosis and scattered acidophilic bodies are found, but when it becomes severe, then there will be bridging necrosis and regenerative changes is in persistent hepatitis. In chronic hepatitis B, there is a ground glass appearance of hepatitis B surface antigen in cytoplasm, and bridging fibrosis is there, which shows irreversible change. End stage of chronic hepatitis, when there is a dense collagenous septa destroying lobular structure and forming nodules, what we see in post-necrotic cirrhosis. So hepatitis activity is scored from none to minimal to mild to moderate and severe, at which stage it is. So pathogenesis. Now this immunopathogenetic mechanism has been attributed to this, which is shown by demonstration of viral immunological markers that is found in the serum, and there is a molecular and morphological evidence that hepatocytic damage is done by virus infected cytotoxic cells, that is CD8 plus T killer cells. So in serum, the viral immunological markers, among them there is a one which is a diagnostic marker also, hepatitis B surface antigen. The scientist Bloomberg in Philadelphia found in serum of multiple transfused hemophilics patients a lipoprotein complex which was later found to be associated with serum hepatitis. This lipoprotein, he named it Australia antigen or hepatitis B surface antigen. You know that hemophilic patients, that is a bleeding disorder. For that, the patient is transfused factor 8 in multiple times, and first of all he saw in them this lipoprotein complex, and later on he matched it with the patients in serum hepatitis. So he named it this Australia antigen, that is the hepatitis B surface antigen, for which Bloomberg in Philadelphia was awarded Nobel Prize in 1977. This hepatitis B surface antigen appears after 6 weeks of infection, which indicates that there is a active hepatitis B infection. But if it disappears in 3 to 6 months, we can say that there is no more hepatitis B infection. But if it persists after 6 months, then it shows that the patient will pass on to a carrier stage, which can be demonstrated even in the cell membrane of hepatocytes. So against this hepatitis B surface antigen, there is a anti-HBs, that is a specific antibody to hepatitis B surface antigen. It is IgG and IgM type, which appears after 3 months and persists lifelong to provide protection against reinfection with hepatitis B virus. Next antigen which is found is the hepatitis B-E antigen, which appears 3 to 6 weeks during active attack. It persists for transiently, but if it persists after 10 weeks, that it again shows that the chronic liver disease will develop and patient will be carriers. But this antibody against this antigen HBAG is called anti-HBe, which it appears after the disappearance of the antigen HBAG in 6 weeks. This seroconversion shows that it is a very good sign and resolution of the disease has taken place. So the hepatitis B antigen and its antibody, which is produced by the body, is very much good marker for the disappearance of the disease and resolution of the disease. Then there is a hepatitis B-C antigen, which is detected in the nuclei of hepatocytes in carrier state only. It cannot be detected in blood. So it is in the nuclei of hepatocytes, that is in carrier stage. Against this, there is an antibody which is detected in the serum of acute hepatitis B patients, and it shows recent acute hepatitis B infection if it is IgM type, and if it is IgG type, it shows that hepatitis B infection has taken place in the remote past. Then there is a hepatitis B virus DNA, that is detected by molecular hybridization using Southern blot technique. It is a very sensitive index for hepatitis B infection in pre-symptomatic phase, but it is very difficult to carry out this process. Now we will study that whatever the acute viral hepatitis, which in severe form may pass into fulminant hepatitis. That is the most severe form of acute hepatitis, which rapidly progresses to hepatocellular failure. That it may be of two types: submassive and massive necrosis. Submassive runs a less rapid course, which extends up to 3 months. Massive necrosis, when the liver failure is very rapid in 2 to 3 weeks, cause viral causes like hepatitis B virus, acute hepatitis caused by hepatitis B and hepatitis C virus, and there are non-viral causes also because of the drug toxicity, acetaminophen, the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, isoniazid, hypoxia, the features of hepatic failure, hepatic encephalopathy develops in these patients. The morphologically, liver becomes small, shrunken up to 500 milligram, capsule is loose. On cut section, there is a diffuse random involvement of hepatic lobule. Extensive areas of muddy, red, yellow necrosed areas are seen. So we also call it acute allotrophy with patches of green bile stain. Histologically, in some massive necrosis, large groups of hepatocytes in zone 2 and zone 3 are wiped out with collapse of reticular framework is seen. Regeneration is there, but it is very slow. In massive necrosis, entire lower lobule are necrosed, collapsed, and condensed reticular framework is seen. Regeneration is less, and there is no fibrosis, and the liver is not liver fails, leading to coma and death. So this was the chronic hepatitis and fulminant hepatitis. So to protect this against these hepatitis viruses, we have got immunoprophylaxis mechanism to check out these viral infections. For hepatitis A, we do passive immunization with immunoglobulins and active immunization with the killed vaccines, which is marketed as BioVac. And hepatitis B, prophylaxis is done by active immunization in the babies against this hepatitis B virus in pre-exposure when the baby is newly born. Then by 0 month, 1 month and 6 months we give injections of recombinant hepatitis B vaccine, and post exposure along with this active immunization we do with the passive immunization by hepatitis B immunoglobulin. There is no vaccination against hepatitis C. So this is all about the viral hepatitis, which are caused by different types of viruses of their different nature, producing different patterns, clinical patterns in different types of patients. Now we will, in the next class, we will study about the cirrhosis. That is also the end stage of the liver pathology. Thank you.